Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday, first day of the week. Thank you so much, everyone who joining in, tuning in. All right, see a lot of familiar faces as usual. Thank you so much. Some of you have been doing the hashtag Solidarity Beyond 2021. Thank you so much, guys. Right. Yep. So today I will be the host and also the speaker, all right, for today's topic, market value, what to know, how to know, all right. Perhaps this topic may be a bit general for you guys, but I hope that I can give you some of the insights, yeah. So stay tuned after this, okay. For those who are new here, thank you so much joining in, tuning in. As you can see on the screen, there's a QR code. Do scan, register yourself. All right. So, welcome to Solidarity Beyond 2021, a platform for you to upskill and grow your real estate business. All right. We have been doing this sharing since the 1st of June. All right. How many days already? Since 1st of June, I think 80 over days already. Okay, so once again, thank you so much those who have been sticking with us, has been watching since the beginning. Thank you so much. And for your information, this platform is brought to you by three agencies in solidarity, namely CBD Properties, Esprit Estate, and Profile Property. Okay, as you can see here, we have a few social media platforms that you can follow or subscribe to. Our Facebook, our YouTube channel, and you can see our Instagram. All right. So do like, do subscribe to us, okay, so that you can keep track on the topics that we have and all our recording as well. And for those who wants to promote your own listings, want to network, to have this solidarities group. As you can see, we have this private Facebook group and also our WhatsApp network lah. All right. So do check us out. Okay, you can do a search from Facebook. Yeah. Now come to the regulation as always. Whenever you have questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, no chat bombing. All right. Make sure that your questions you ask are directed to the topic of the day. Okay. So I'll be your speaker, the speakers for today. So if you have any questions, I will answer you after my sharing. Okay. All right. So be participative. You are welcome to ask more questions. Okay. Now, topic of the day. What's our topic of the day? Market value, what to know, how to know. So today's topic, right, I'm going to share about agent's perspective, real estate negotiator perspective on valuation. Okay. Disclaimer here, I'm not a certified valuer, so I'm not giving a lecture lah. Okay. I just want to share some of my perspective as a real estate negotiator. And I hope that it applies or it works out for you guys after you hearing this. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, I see the hashtag coming in. Thank you. All right. Now, let me share my screen here. Okay, is everyone able to see my slides? If you can see my slides, can you press a number 8? 8, can you press an 8 so that I can make sure that you guys able to see my slides here? Any response? Can see my slides? If you can, oh, 8, okay. Thanks, Chin. All right. Thank you so much, yeah. Okay, let's start with our today's topic. Okay, let's start with our today's topic. Why I want to share market value especially, because I realize that those who are already in the business in real estate, you know that lately the valuation from the bank quite hard to get lah. And I just thought of it that maybe I want to share a little bit on this topic. Although some of you here may already know, okay, but this is a bit more basic, more fundamental. But I hope that those who are new able to learn something as well. Okay. Now, first thing first. All right, the common questions I want to ask everyone is, what is property value? What is property value all about? Okay, basically, property value is about the price lah. What is the agreed price that both the buyers and the seller agree to sell? So that is the property price, the agreed property price. That is the property value. Okay, basically, is price. Value is price. Correct me if I'm wrong. So in this definition on my own, property value refers to the worth of piece of real estate based on the price that a buyer and seller agreed upon. Okay. So now then, what is the definition from the board, from the act? Okay, the standards. So on from Malaysia valuation standards, yeah. So this is the actual definition, all right, on market value itself. So it says that market value is the estimated amount for which a property should exchange on the date of valuation between a willing buyer and a willing seller in an arm's length transaction. After proper marketing, wherein the parties had each acted knowledgeably, prudently, and without compulsion. All right. So clearly that when we talk about market value of the property, basically both party has to agree, meaning willingly. Okay, the keyword here is willingly in an arm's length transaction. So it's within the mean whereby both know what they are buying. They are both given the information. They are knowledge. They are acknowledged that this is the property they are buying. These are the information, and prudently, meaning they are wise enough. They are able to make a correct, accurate judgment when they proceed on this purchase, and without compulsions, meaning there's no force. They are not being forced to make this decision to sell or to purchase. Okay, so basically this is the terms from Malaysia valuation standards. All right, all good. So okay, those who have questions, do feel free to type in the chat box. I'll come to you after that. All right. Now, when we talk about valuation, market value, okay, market value especially, there are a few things that will affect a property price, whether it goes down or go up. Of course, we have been saying property price will go up in the long term, all right? If you look into 10, 20 years, property price is going up. But of course, there are certain point of time it goes down. There's an adjustment period as well. But all in all, what is the factors that affect the price in the changes in property price or property value? So the fundamental I want to share here is that the supply and demand. Basically, why products have or services have a price, has a value, because there's always a demand and there's always a supply. Only then, when the supply and demand met, that will be the price that is agreed and the agreed upon. All right, so that is the fundamental. When people ask you, hey, why property price go up? Why property price go down? On more general or more fundamental terms, is because of supply and demand. Okay, now the next question is, what drives the demand? What drives the supply? Okay, of course, like I mentioned, there's a few factors, like I said. So first thing first, when I thought of preparing this topic, right, the first thing is that, okay, that when we talk about supply demand, then which one first? Is it the demand come first, only then got supply, or supply come first, then there's a demand? Actually, it's like a chicken and egg question lah. So it's very hard to say. But I believe when we talk about property price, whereby the developer, when they built it, of course they have done their study, they have done the market study and etc. The details part, do a market research and so on. Only then they start building. Only then they determine the price. Okay, so they foresee there's a demand there. Only then they start building. Then that's where the supplies comes in. Okay, now I want to share with you some of the factors that is going to affect the supply and demand, especially on the demand part. What drives the demand? All right, because without demand, there won't be a supply. If like there's no demand, who wants to build property, right? If there's no demand to have shelters. No developers do not want to build it, correct or not? So what normally drives the demand? So what I want to share here is that first thing first, as you can see, is location. We have been talking about location, location, location. All right, location is the first thing that drives the demand. Whether this location is convenient, there's a lot of amenities or not. Okay, so when what determines the property price, we always look into the location. For example, KLCC areas, our CBD, all right, the property price definitely is higher than outskirt area. For example, Shah Alam, if we do a apple to apple comparison, why? Because the location is different, because the amenity is so much different, the infrastructure is so much different, right? So let us zoom in a little bit more. Besides locations, right, one important thing that drive the demand for certain areas, the location, is because of the demographic. Okay, every places, every sub area will have their own demographic, and that will determine the value of the property. For instance, all right, for instance, Damansara, Bangsa area, Damansara High area, Bangsa area are peoples that are higher income level, or probably they are more educated peoples compared to other area. This is an example. So basically, because of this, hence why people would like to stay within this kind of area environment, and that drives up the property price. Hence why I like to do a comparison. Bangsa area, Damansara area, the property price are comparatively higher than other sub area. Okay, that is one thing that we look into. Demographic can be also age as well. Okay, people that is staying in the PJ or Bangsa area, the general residents lah. All right, the folks are most of the time they are more elderly, hence why they are financially more prepared and they can afford property there. Whereas new development area, they are younger people and they just start off their family. So like places like for example, Elmina, the Night Alam is an upcoming very potential township. Okay, I think the resident age is about 25 to 40, in that kind of range. Yeah, people like to move there because it's a new property, and also they are younger people lah. I will put this way. So that also affect the property price as well. All right, and then number 3, transportation. Okay, transportation is something very important. Okay, for certain areas, for certain locations, especially if, like for example, in KLCC area, transportation is important because the target residents or target residents are either expatriate foreigners or high net worth people. They stay in KLCC CBD area. So transportation is very important. They probably do not need a car. They do not need a car. So they take LRT to travel, or even they just walk. Okay, because it's so convenient, and hence why the property price are higher. Okay, so some areas they are quite far from transportation, like for example is areas that is quite excluded, like places like Ijo, for example, Bukit Buruntong. Yeah, you can get buses, you can get basically it's just buses lah. You don't get LRT there, you don't get MRT there. It's quite far, transportation is not so convenient, hence why property price may not be as good, because the demand lesser, people want convenience. But like I said, so these are the points that will drive up the value of the property. Let's look into a little bit more. Okay, when we talk about property price, right, property value, right, when it comes into demands, right, one thing people also prefer residential area or commercial area. Residential most of the time for educational institution, they want to stay near to the university. For example, why property price in give you an example, why property price in Sunway is so expensive, all right? It's about 800 to 1,000 per square feet, and people still buy it because there's so many university in Bandar Sunway area, and hence why it drives up the property price. So people want to stay close lah. Probably they do not want to stay next to them, but it depends on the purpose also. Like as a student, I want to stay close to the university, walking distance. However, some people they say they may prefer somewhere further. But all in all, it is because of the demand. What is the purpose of the property? A lot of buyer they buy property in Sunway that is close to the university, Sunway University, Taylor University, is because there's a demand, a huge demand to rent the properties to the students. Okay, when the times was good, in fact, there's very limited owners actually asking agents to help them to rent or sell their property because the demand is so high, the supply is so limited, so they are not worried. But because of this pandemic, I'm sure that those real estate negotiator that has been working on focusing on university area, higher educational area, you'll notice that more and more owners actually come out to look for agents to get agents help to rent out or to sell their property because of this current pandemic. And that's the reason why it also because of the demand get lower. There's less students coming in. That's why the rental price goes down. That's why things are not really moving. The price adjusted. Okay, so this is one of the reasons as well. Number 5, accessibility. Why I want to touch on this is because accessibility really drive the property price. Okay, not just on residential, on commercial, industrial, the same. I believe that those who have been following us, we have heard of a few of our speakers has been highlighting if we are doing industrial, you want to keep track, look into the accessibility, the highways, follow the highways. Okay, why follow the highways? Because of easy in, easy out, the accessibility. Hence why there's demand, there's a lot of potential. So that is also one of the reasons why the property price go up. All right, so accessibility. All right, number 6, amenities. People want to stay near to amenities, convenience, all right. Not many people would prefer areas without amenities. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to stay into KLCC to enjoy CBD area to enjoy the amenities. All other areas have their own amenities as well. For example, like Subang, they have their own commercial areas. Okay, they have own park and whatnot, the conveniences, the infrastructures. Okay, even areas like Shah Alam, Setia Alam, they have their own. So those that is closer to amenities, the property price are generally more higher. Okay, hence why this is one of the key things that why people want to stay close to amenity and why the property price are higher to compare. So as I've mentioned, I already shared six points here. Yeah, of course, like I said, there are more things that will affect the property price. Add more, okay? Add more to you guys. Developer reputation also is very important. Why some developers they can sell property at more premium, at higher price compared to the rest, although in the same area, but why certain developer they can sell it higher? Because of their reputation, because of their track record. For example, we all know what do you call EcoWorld. Their property, their development are generally quite compared to other developer because of their reputation, because of their ideas, their township as well. They have been winning award as well. All right, their workmanship is good. Hence why people are willing to pay more. That drive the demand of the property. That drive the value of the property. Okay. All right. So far, no questions. I will keep on going. If you have questions or have any inputs you want to share, also can feel free to put it in the comment. Right. So just now I talk about developer. Okay, for example, why Desa Park City, they can drive a higher price because of the developer reputation as well, because their township, fantastic township, right? If we can afford, we all want to stay there. Okay, under this kind of township development, nice areas, nice landscaping. Yeah, so this is one. Okay, number eight, which is I believe that it will be more and more important, which is number eight factor, right? Security and privacy. This is what our generation really look into because of the current environment we are staying. We feel privacy and security is one of the top priority when it comes to property selection. I'm sure you come across your clients lately for the past few years. People are asking about security. They are more concerned about their privacy. So moving forward, we can see this will be the main drive of the property price as well. If this condominium or this housing area can provide a better security or privacy, definitely there'll be more demand. People are willing to pay for this. It's because of personal security, personal privacy. People are willing to pay for that one. So you can see there's a drive, there's a demand and property price that has good security. Actually, they can fetch a higher price. Okay, last but not least, okay, this is the last point I want to share with you is cultural belief. All right, few days ago, I think last week we had a sharing on feng shui. Okay, does feng shui affects the property value? Yes, it does. Okay, obviously it does. Of course, you can know that some new development, the developer do not put number 4, they put 3A or 13A because of cultural belief. Okay, that actually affect the property price, if you notice. And also, I'm sure that those experienced agents here, if you have been doing landed property, those property that is facing T junction, the demand is much lesser, and the property price are cheaper compared to the next door unit, right? Do you face that kind of situation? Why? Because of cultural belief, the feng shui, and it can go to a certain extent to the direction. People are less preferred houses that facing west because direct sunlight is very hot, so they don't prefer. Or they say west is not good, uh, good feng shui. So there are things like that as well. So these are the small factors that affect the property price. Yeah. So this is on a more micro perspective. Like I said, there's a lot of reasons that affect the supply and demand. Okay, now I would like to share more on the macro perspective. Lately, I've been doing consultations, sharing to property investors, clients lah. So I also put on two things that affect the property price. To me, property price always go up. Not to say always go up, it goes up on the long term, 10, 20 years. If you look into the past data, why property goes up? Mainly two things lah, because of economic fiscal policy and also population growth. Okay. However, there are a few more things here. First thing first is scarcity. When things are scarce, all right, there will be more demand because the supply is less. Then, hence why when there's more high demand, low supply, the property price go up. All right. So it says that there's no scarcity, there's a lot of supply, overhand property a lot, demand very less, the property price go down. So this is on a macro perspective. Second, population growth. Lucky to say that Malaysia population growth has been all this while has been going up lah. Since back when it begins, the population growth has been always going up even until today. So demand for shelter is always there. That is the fundamental. People needs a shelter, a place to stay. So that is the fundamental. Hence, with the growth of population, property price will go up in the longer term, right? So, however, just that I think for the past 10 years that the changes or increment slower a bit to compare, right? Now, number three, general economic situation. So when it talk about economic situation, a few things lah. One is our financial policy by our government. Okay, our political situation as well will affect the property price, the value of the property. So these are, especially now we are in the pandemic, right? No one expected this, and because of this pandemic, people do not have confidence, not just in property market but other market. They are less confident. Hence, why property price adjusted as well. But moving on, I think this is a smaller view because it's either we live on with this pandemic, or when vaccination deployment fasten, everyone is vaccinated, then this one will, this concern will be slowly eliminate lah. However, there are a few things though, fiscal policy and also political situation that will affect the property price. Okay, and last but not least, long-term development plan. Okay, why I mentioned this is important as well is because I think everyone aware of Cyberjaya, right? At one point, Cyberjaya was very hot. Okay, I think maybe like 7, 8 years ago, people are starting to invest in Cyberjaya because there's a interesting development plan by the government. Okay, that was during Dr. Mahathir time. All right, and after that, because it was took over by Najib, or right. So there's a put on hold on development in Cyberjaya, and hence why the long-term development plan did not able to fulfill, and hence why the property price, not to say go down, but stagnant lah. Put it this way, it's stagnant lah. So long-term development of certain areas will definitely affect the property value. Okay, there's a few things, like I said, it's very hard to say or why property price go up and go down. But like I said, the fundamental is supply and demand. All right. So far, so good. Is everyone following? Because I've been talking since the beginning. Everyone listening? If yes, still following me, please press a 3. 3 means sang, 3. Let's see if everyone is still following me. Sorry, because this sharing are more technical, or even I can say is more fundamental, basic lah. So you may not have much questions to ask, but I want to give you certain perspective. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I can see you guys are responding. Thank you so much. All right. Now let's move on. Okay. Then you know that what is the supply and demand already? What drive the demand, and hence with the demand, then developer will start building. They'll start develop new properties, new real estate, right? So how do we identify what is the market value? How do we determine that? So most of the valuer, and as a real estate negotiator, of course, we do a comparison. Okay, in valuation method, there are a few valuation method. Later, I will share with you guys. But all in all, most of us use comparison method. Same as agents also, you are using comparison method for sure. All right, most of the time I would say. Now, as usual, if today you are asking, owner will ask you this question: one, hey, what's the price that I can sell on my property? What is the market price currently in this area and whatnot? For those new agents here, this is more catered for you. What I normally do, I do a comparison. All right, comparison. More, you can't have an apple to apple comparison, direct apple to apple comparison, because properties are different. Okay, even maybe they are the same size, but the condition will be different, the features may be different. Okay, there are a few things, even the house number can be different, and because of this house number and that will be very minor effect lah, not much effect. But all in all, we use the closest like to like property to do a comparison. Okay, normally what I'm going to do is that I go to check on iProperty, Property Guru, Muda, a few platform, across a few platforms. I just don't go with one. I normally go to 2 or 3 to do a comparison. and a few different property listings to do like similar properties to do a comparison. For example, as I've been doing Subang Jaya for a very long time, I know property price in Subang Jaya, for example, USJ 13. I know the size is 2060. Okay. However, in 2060, this property size 2060 landed property I'm talking about, it can range from 600 to 700. So it depends, although they are on the same size, but it depends on the renovation. So on the basic houses is 600 or so, plus minus only. All right, those is renovated, end lot without land, end lot renovated nicely, renovated, can go up to 700. So basically, how I know this is because I do a lot of comparison study in within that area. It's better that you zoom into that specific housing area if you are doing landed. If condo, you just zoom into the certain layout, the type, because every type is different sizes, right? Most of the time. So you just compare the exact size of the property, and then you compare across. So of course, you can't expect that nicely renovated house is same price as the basic house, although they are the same price lah. So have to do some study, and that's from there. I will not go to the owner first, because what I'm going to do next is to also uh, do research using past transaction record. All right, as you know, or you do not know, that like Bricks.my, Property Advisor, these are all backed by JPPH data. So okay, so these are all official from JPPH lah. This is all transacted data that you can use to do your study. Okay, same thing is a comparison study as well. Okay, I will just compare. For example, this house is in USJ 3B, okay, /4. Then I will find in Bricks whether that is there any transaction transacted recently in this jalan, specifically this jalan. If there's no this jalan, then I will look into this housing area, this taman. Okay, as zoom in as close as possible. Use the most similar like to like comparison. Okay, of course, if you want to use Bricks, right, you need to subscribe to iProperty, or you can subscribe separately as well, but this is obviously a paid account. Only then you can go to the street, only then you can look into the house number to use a more accurate comparison. As you can also see, in Bricks, right, there's this called median per square feet. Normally, I will use this as a comparison, a number, a price that I give the owners lah. All right, this is the median price. Yeah. So, but of course, sometimes Bricks are not 100% accurate one. I can tell you that Bricks or Property Advisor is not always 100% accurate. For I do not know why, right? Whatever reason lah. You see, some prices are ridiculous, so I don't rely on that. Hence, why I use Bricks and Property Advisor to compare with those research I've done on the property portals. Okay, same thing to Property Advisor. This is a need to subscribe, subscription based one. So if you do not have subscription, if you have Bricks, actually is sufficient enough lah. This Property Advisor is more of a backup, right? Yeah, okay. All right. I see a comment here. It's not a question whether house price will go up. It shows to go up. Only the speed of increase we are uncertain. Land density getting lesser, hence correct. Scarcity also a few factors lah, like mentioned. All right. Now, besides having doing research on our own as a real estate negotiator, we use comparison method through comparing through property portals, through data's website like Bricks, like Property Advisor. Another options for your client would be getting a licensed valuer to conduct a formal valuation of the property. Okay. Besides, I'm sure that some of you also ask your banker, ask your banker to check valuation. Okay, that valuations come from the bank, which also from the valuer itself. but there is no written black and white. So alternatively, what you can do is to propose to your client to hire a licensed valuer to conduct a formal valuation lah. Of course, by doing so, your client will have to pay for it lah. It can cost a few hundred thousands, depends on the value of the property. But I would say this one, not always you need it unless you find it very difficult. There is not enough data, not enough reference for you to do a comparison method, and the property value is very high. It's a big ticket item, big ticket property. Then my advice is get a valuer. It's gonna be worth it also lah. It gives confidence to your owner, all right, and also your purchaser as well, especially industrial, commercial, big ticket item. You want to do that because these kind of properties, right? Sometimes there's lack of reference. It's very hard for you to do a comparison method. All right. For valuer, besides comparison method, they also use other method to do a valuation one. It doesn't mean that they just compare the past transaction. And one more thing I want to highlight here is that I spoken to valuer. Actually, they do not use value that is long time ago one. So be aware also, best if we can get the valuation up to last year, 1 year, within 1 year, that would be the most accurate valuation for the property from the valuer perspective. Yeah. So why I want to share this topic today is because I noticed that lately, especially after this lockdown, there will be a lot of price valuation drop. If you ask your valuer, hey, what's the value now for this property, you may notice that the valuations now that is given to you may be lesser than what you have gotten earlier on. Okay, last time we rarely come to this kind of situation, but because of this pandemic lockdown, a lot of industry is affected, economy is affected, so property price also adjusted. Hence why, as a valuer, they also more careful. They do not simply give valuation already. They give a more conservative valuation. So as a real estate negotiator, always check on the valuation up to today's date lah, when you want to transact the deal. All right. Now, what is bank valuation? Why is there actually a difference between bank valuation and market value? Actually, by right, there shouldn't be a difference because whatever valuation given by the valuer should be the market value. But because of the timing differences, there may be a difference in terms of what the market can take, what is the market price that the market can take, then what the bank sees in terms of the value of this property. Okay. However, logically, it should be the same one. So basically, bank valuation is the price that the bank is willing to lend to you against the property upon consultation with the licensed valuer. So whatever value that the licensed valuer given to the bank, that would be the value that the bank gonna lend you the money. Okay. Generally, the valuation from the bank will be lower than the market value, as bank will want to protect their investment risk, which is true, especially at current point of time. Bank are more reserved. They do not simply give loan, as in because of the current pandemic. So valuation are lower to compare to last time. This is my own experience lah. All right. However, like I said, always check on your valuation first. With the owner, when you first got the listings, right, I would always advise you to check on the valuation, because most of the time the owner will think that their property can sell at pre-pandemic, pre-COVID-19 price. But the truth is that the bank are more reserved. The valuation now are lower. So you do not want to waste your time to advertise when the bank valuation is lower, but owner want a higher price. That's your decision, of course. But what if there's a buyer, but after you done all these things, right, only realize that bank valuation cannot get? So what will happen in this case? What will happen? what will happen if that the agreed purchase price is higher than the bank valuation? Yeah, what will happen if agreed purchase price is higher than the bank valuation? So the what we'll have to do is that the purchaser will have to fork out the differences, no? Right? I'm sure most of you here would understand that, because just now I mentioned already, the bank will only lend the amount of money based on the value that the certified license valuer given to the bank. So it says that the agreed price is higher than what valuer value, then the differences will have to be paid up by the purchaser. For example, if says that this property is valued at 500,000, but owners and buyer they agreed on 600,000. So bank will only finance up to 500,000, 90% of 500,000 if that is a residential property. Then the balance of 100,000, who's going to finance? Definitely from the purchaser lah. All right, the purchaser have to top up the difference. So that's the situation. That is the I mean, more likely to happen nowadays lah, because like I mentioned, bank valuation drop ma, correct or not? What happened if that the value given by the valuer is higher than the agreed purchase price? What if the value given by the value is higher than the agreed purchase price? Then no issue lah. As a purchaser, definitely you can get 90% of the agreed purchase price financing from the bank. That's not an issue. Okay. But nowadays, still got buyers willing to fork out that kind of money, meaning that they buy above bank valuation. Is there still purchaser would do that? I think lesser lah. I wouldn't say totally no, but lesser lor. Yeah. Yeah, I see Vishwan Nadan actually mentioned could ask owner to reduce the selling price based on the bank value, which is true, which I would say that's what I would do also. It's good for you to ask owner to adjust the pricing because the bank valuation really go down. A lot of owners still thought that they can sell at that price that before the pre-COVID. I mean, like if valuation cannot get lah, right? So now I would like to share you some of the valuation method by valuer. Okay, the first method I've shared with you guys already is the comparison method. This is most of the valuer will use this method one, especially for residential, commercial. Okay, normally they use this comparison method because based on the past transacted data and a few factors, they will do an evaluation. Very common. Okay, very common. And then I would just touch base on these few methods. I'm not going to elaborate or go into very detail because I'm not a certified valuer also, but I can share with you is just some of my knowledge and my findings. Okay, now I've shared with you comparison method. We all know how to do it already. Second is the profit method. So profit method compared to comparison method, right? Profit methods comes in when there is not many options for comparison. Okay, and profit method most of the time, right, is used for businesses. For example, for restaurants, for bars, for nursing homes, all these businesses when they want to sell and there is do not have a comparison to compare, and when it also comes to selling together with the business, all right. For instance, the SS2 area, some spot are really hot one because of the business nature itself and also the location. Hence why they can sell it at a premium. And normally how to do this kind of valuation is through profit method law. So basically, also it also applicable to hotel, yeah, using profit method. So basically, how this method work is that they estimate the gross and net profit of the business to do the valuation. Okay, So basically, that's a very brief explanation of profit method. Does valuer use that? Yes, valuers still do use this method to evaluate a certain property that is business based lah. All right. So number 3 is costing method. So basically, costing method, they use it as an evaluation based on the building price. So unlike comparison method, right? This method, they do not use it for residential or commercial because, like I said, residential and commercial, most of the time, they use it for using comparison method already. So for costing method, most of the time are the buildings that is rarely be transacted, put it this way. Okay, for example, costing method is used on schools, government building, temples, for example, hospital, when there is really parties interested to purchase or to evaluate what is the value. So because of lack of reference, they use this costing method. Basically, costing method basically evaluate, identify what is the land price, and also the construction cost. The land price plus the construction cost. So it's the costing. That's how costing method work. Okay, that one will need a professional, okay, to do the evaluation, the valuer lah, basically. So that is one. Okay, all right. So number 4 would be a residual method. Okay, residual method are quite similar to costing method, but this residual method, right, are more applicable to property developer. When the property developer, they want to buy this building, for example, they want to revive it, redevelop it, they use this method to evaluate whether this property can buy over and redevelop or not. Is it worth it or not? They can't use comparison method, they can't use profit method. So residual method are more applicable for developer. Okay, how it is used is that this residual method determines the value of the properties and also the vacant land with potential for development and redevelopment. So what good about this residual method is actually, as a developer, they can identify how much they should pay for this development site and how much money they can make out of it. If the using this method, the profit, the whole construction cost plus the profit doesn't make sense, right? They might as well not to buy it. So how does the residual method calculate? Will be using the gross development value. Okay, gross development value minus off the construction cost, the professional fee, and also they have to minus off their profit. That's what's left. Then that would be the value for the property. So if both parties agreed, then should be proceed on. If cannot agree, then maybe have to look for alternative lah. So keyword here for residual method is using the gross development value. Gross development value is basically the projection of the value if they sell off this property to the investors or the buyers. Okay, so this is for residual method. And last but not least, investment method, quite commonly used also. This method is to evaluate property that is for investment purpose. Okay, basically this is used for the properties that provide the landlord with a return of their investment in the form of rental in the future. So as an investor, you will be able to foresee doing by using a comparison method, you will be able to identify what is the sellable price and also the future income coming in, the rental income coming in. So by using that, using the net present value, NPV, net present value, do a reverse calculation and then only to justify, okay, this is the price, the value of this property. See, this is one of the investment method, all right, applicable for investment property lah. all right, investors use it. But all in all, I would say this is for your knowledge, this is for your understanding. What other methods that is being used by valuer? Because to be honest, before this, I always thought there's only one method being used by the valuer. But after my studies, okay, I understand, okay, now valuer actually can use other method to do valuation as well. So I hope that you guys will also being given this knowledge. Next time when you go out, you know lah, how to explain to your clients, or maybe especially you are doing high ticket item, maybe industrial, then you want to share other kind of valuation method to your client as well. Yeah, so far so good, everyone. Basically, I comes to the end of my sharing session. I hope that you guys have the knowledge, you have the new idea of, oh, that actually there's more methods that you can be used. All right. So any questions for me? I see there's question here from Cynthia aborted the sales. I'm not too sure what is the meaning. Maybe you can rephrase it, Cynthia. Okay. All right. Valuation during market downturns is likely variable. Hire your agents to assist you in these factors and negotiation. Exactly, Josephine. Yeah, because most of the time, as an owner or property owner, they are not well aware of what is the current market price, market valuation. And as a professional agent, we use all these data and fact to advise them accordingly. All right, we have to use all the findings that we have and show them, print it out, share with them, so that they have we can show our professionalism and build the trust as well, right? I fully agree with that, Josephine. And then with the questions here, costing method, is this inclusive of outgoing costs? What is included in this cost? So basically, for costing method, right? What is putting in also is the land cost, all right? The outgoing cost, yes. The construction cost, how much cost is also have to take into consideration even to the depreciation, all right? When it comes to costing method, also it also include depreciation as well. Okay, so outgoing cost is definitely lah, right? So a few things that, of course, it depends on the valuer what to be included, depends on the type of property as well. Okay, depends on the type of property as well. Like I said, for costing method, is not usual for residential and commercial. Maybe industrial, yes, and also other properties that is rarely put up for sale, maybe a university. All right. Okay, so I hope I answer your question. So any more questions coming in? I'll give 1 minute. Okay, like I mentioned, I'm not a licensed valuer lah. So this is my sharing based on a real estate negotiator perspective. I hope that it give you some insights, and later on, moving forward, we would like to invite a certified valuer also to give their sharing, give their thoughts. Okay, all right. So if there's no questions, that will be the end of our session today. And thank you once again so much to everyone here who have been staying on for this sharing. And moving tomorrow, we have another 3 p.m. training as well. Okay. So thank you once again, everyone. Have a wonderful Monday today, first day of the week. All right. So yeah, stay positive and take care, everyone. Thank you so much for the support, everyone. See you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah? Thank you. Bye-bye.